Welcome to Convoys with NIFA, where we teach, inform, expose, learn, and discuss issues related to our communities for sustainable community development. I am Hanifa Kut, your host.
Welcome to another episode of Convoys with NIFA. Today I have a guest here who is also a friend, and we are going to have a very interesting conversation. So I'll let him introduce himself and tell us what he does. Karibu.
Thank you so much, Hanifa. My name is Isaac Oindo, and I'm a climate change link and development. That's how I can describe myself, because I'm striving to find a stride between development and being climate resilient and climate friendly in the initiatives. So basically, I'm multifaceted in that, and that is how I can describe myself.
Wow, sawa. So if you have issues to do with climate change and you want to get into the nexus of development, I think Isaac can be the best fit to assist in that. Today we're going to be discussing a very interesting topic with Isaac, which he's been working around the same, and it's nice sometimes to get someone who has experience in certain things. And our today's discussion will be on locally led solutions, especially to climate change. So Isaac, maybe you can just tell us what are locally led solutions?
Basically, I would want to use some few words to describe locally led solutions. These are solutions by the people, for the people, and meant to benefit the people. When I say the people, I mean the indigenous people within their locality. So I talk of someone from a certain area. They are indigenous to that particular area. Okay? So locally led solutions are solutions that come from them. I want to give you a scenario. For example, if a river is drying up and you convene a meeting with the community and try to talk to them about the cause of that river drying up, they will give you very interesting histories. And based on the example of what I've been trying to do with the community in the local regions of Kisumu, I realized that there is a river which has so highly been polluted over time. And then now I convene the meeting of this particular community, bring them together in the banks of the river, and then we start discussing. And I use a very simple tool, that is the event tool, for them to document some of the stories and histories of how the river was before and how it is changed. And then you'll now realize that out of those stories, they will have a clear grasp of what really happened and led to the river getting polluted. Once they understand what happened, then the solution should also come from within, because they identify themselves with what caused the injustice of how the river got polluted. So a locally led solution to this context is that solution that has come from the community, and they have designed it for themselves. Maybe as an external person, you've only given the technical expertise and maybe technical guidance, but the solutions have come from them. The benefits of this is at some point you realize that there is communal ownership. Because we have developed the solution by ourselves. It is by us. So there's no resistance that will come that people are trying to impose something on us.
Actually, that aligns so well to the first episode I ever did on top-down approach to community development or bottom-up approach. And this aligns so well to the bottom-up approach. And the benefit you're saying or talking about is actually that exactly, the ownership part of specific development issue or change.
So that's really the definition of locally led climate adaptation solution, or ways of tackling climate change from the context of the community. As a project management professional, what I've learned is such kind of initiatives usually have very little challenges when it comes to implementation than programs which has been designed by experts and imposed on the community. And when we rate them, we realize that those are some of the most successful projects that we can ever have as a way of adapting to climate change.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
It's interesting that when you're introducing the locally led solutions in the community, you talked about the advantages and the benefit,
Yes.
and also that it has less or fewer disadvantages.
Yeah.
But now I'd like you to maybe bring us into some of the other advantages, rather than it just being locally owned, and therefore showing and ensuring there's continuity. What is the other, any other benefits that can be found in such a process?
I would want to use a star method in telling you the example with the situation, how it is. I once did a study with a community-led initiative, and just to get the beneficiary feedback into the project. I realized that communication becomes easy in a locally led climate adaptation initiative. Here is a case where they go through participatory thinking and design thinking, and then they conceptualize, and then actualization happens. So you realize that the community has its own ways of doing things, because these are people who have been thrown together. These are people who have lived in the same environment together. These are people who get to understand the benefits that are accrued from the environment based on how they've been doing things, interacting, and so communication becomes easy in such community-led adaptation initiatives, and that is one advantage that it has over any other project that is designed professionally. Secondly, the ownership that comes with it makes it more resilient to financial constraints, because one, these are people who definitely just come out to give their input in terms of skills, in terms of manpower, in terms of supervision, without really looking for an external source.
Maybe that's true.
And when you look at for the scenario of this river, you realize they come even with their own tools to do the work around this conservation of the river. And at the same time, you realize that there is no one who will come to destroy what the community has done, because they are the same people who live in the same place. So all these factors put together leads to a realization of the outcome that is intended for such projects. Yes. So that is something that advantages put together, and something that I think has been tested and is really working.
Nice. Because when you talked about the financial aspect, maybe it's something that I've never considered as such, but now I'm noticing that the financial aspect might not end up being an issue as such, because of the fact that if we identify this river, this is what happens for it to be polluted, and these are the repercussions you are getting from it. No matter the fact that we'll have money or not, we will ensure that we conserve it because we actually benefit from it. If we wait for another person to do it for us because we're waiting for the money, we will end up suffering and end up losing it among the process. Oh wow, that's nice. So what are the disadvantages?
Yes, of course, we are in a world which is quickly modeling different technologies, and a world that is fast shifting, and I would still give you the scenario of this, a case of a river. A river now is not just, it doesn't get polluted just by people taking their animals to drink water. We now have even industrial waste moving to the river, and with this it requires science to solve. So you find there's a knowledge gap in locally led adaptation initiatives, and out of this knowledge gap, it requires that you now go back and check with literature. What is it that is required? There are constraints to this because we are talking about indigenous people. We are not saying most of them have not even done some studies, but there is to an extent that to some extent you require research to solve a complex problem in the society. So the knowledge gap, skill gap, and also to some extent solutions which require more technology to solve requires finances, and because of poverty, this has been a problem. over some time. But another disadvantage or the challenge that I've seen also is with the overlap of policies that we have, especially on environmental governance.
True.
And it has set different bodies looking at different issues, but you realize that the same
we're just talking about the same things, same problems, different laws, different policies overlapping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So with different parastatals, with different policies overlapping, there are grey areas which are actually not addressed.
Yeah.
And the community are not properly guided on what to solve. Like, I can pose a question to you. How many people know to what extent the riverbank they should tilt? Yeah, because there are laws which are saying actually twice the width of the river. There are laws which are saying actually 70 meters, 70 meters from the river. And there are a lot of policies around this. So when you go to the community, or maybe you're imparting knowledge on them, this become a challenge because they don't know who to trust. Maybe Warma people will go visit them, tell them this. Nema will go tell them this. You know. So those are some of the challenges. Our policies are not actually coordinated in a manner that they can help in facilitating locally led climate adaptations. Yes.
So I think as you're saying that, I was just thinking of two other aspects or points that can align with exactly the same thing you're talking about. Another one, I think a challenge that might come up is in that research aspect, because most of these people, some of them, of course, are learned and they can have the ideas, but they might not be able to tap into the technology required. But on the other hand, if there are people who still need additional information, I think the other challenge that can come in is when there's more research being done and you go to the ground with your knowledge, these people might actually feel as if they don't own the idea or the project that you're coming up with. So you find that all of you are speaking the same language, but the person will be like, no, you're coming up with something that I don't actually want. And it becomes such a very big issue. And then the other challenge when thinking of this locally led adaptation issues is the fact that maybe when you go to the ground, there are thought leaders, there are leaders who are there, and then you go there and you're telling them you need to come up with something, but then some of the thought leaders don't have all the ideas that are supposed to be. So you find that the person who might have given you the information might be isolated or ignored because of the thought leader. Or if you don't work with the thought leader, you might find that while people can give you the information, if the person is not there, they won't adapt to what you say.
And I think that has been a serious challenge over time, because how can we grasp the knowledge of change management even in the community leadership? For a long time, our communities have been led by council of elders, and the council of elders, they don't have the same thinking line. And basically the knowledge that they bring is so rich, of course. But if this knowledge is not coiled in a way that it could still serve the purpose under which they have been God-given, then we fail now to meet what is expected of us. And I think in communal arrangements, still that has been a gap. And some of them are actually there to maybe help in implementation of cultures, reproductive cultures, which are still, most of them are, and most of them are punitive rather than correctional, or maybe in a way to find solutions to the issues in the society. So you're very right that such kind of leaders also pose a lot of problems. And I will tell you with a scenario where giving an example, of course, with the rivers. There are some type of trees that people are trusting are meant to give wood in exchange of money. And these community leaders have embraced them, like eucalyptus. And most of them have now gone to plant them along the rivers, not knowing that actually this is the root cause of our rivers drying up as a result of these trees absorbing a lot of water. You can't go to the community and mention to the community leaders that we want you guys to uproot all the old. It will be tricky and chaotic for that matter. So those are some of the challenges that it's true. I resonate with what you say. These leaders are posed a serious challenge when it comes to really adopting the locally led implemented practitioners.
Wow, crazy. Even when you were talking about the rivers thing, all I could think of is when back then I was doing my attachment and I name locally, you know.
In the community.
Yeah, and we'd go and when it's on sand harvesting or fishing, these people had the solutions, yes, but they had very, very many issues because someone will say, I own the land from the river.
Yes.
And you can't tell them, no, you need to have this number of meters from the river. And someone is like, no, we are banking on what the community has done.
Land. And they will say, this is our ancestral land.
Yeah.
Actually, we own even the river.
Yeah. And you're like, oh my God, what are we going to do about it? But now that we've identified the challenges, just thinking, what are some of the things that you can do? Because like the one for leaders, of course you can involve them, but how do you ensure they don't influence a decision that won't work for the community in the long run?
I would say policy-wise, the strength now lies with public participation, which has been given prominence in actually the process of making laws in the country.
Yeah.
If we make laws, why would we not allow the community themselves to make laws that govern them?
Yeah.
I would then propose that in many occasions have community dialogues and consultations as many times as possible, so that there is the chronology of how events are happening, and even how it leads to them having adaptation solutions on the issues that are actually affecting them. And I think that is one key thing. Once we have proper mobilization of the community and have proper plans on how to engage them from all disciplines and also all stakeholders, including the government, civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, and even the CPOs, which are actually operating within the community. The community should be at the center so that they own the processes. On the leaders, there is a way we transform their thinking. One of them being, how can we make them the champions of a just cause? So that once we train them, we now give them the mantle to run, so that they lead by example. Okay? Focus group discussions, training of trainers, and they are themselves are the trainers. So you put programs which are centered towards shaping the thinking of the leaders of the community. And I think for a long time that has been very best practice that have been embraced by even other programs.
Okay, actually that is a very good strategy because I feel like it's a manner in which you're still giving them the power to run what they're doing. You're not sidelining them, and you're helping them even interact with their community members in a manner in which, okay, I'm helping you learn, but I'm also trying to tell you, let's do this together. And on the issue of technology access, how do you think that can be solved, especially down at the community level?
I'm one believer of solutions coming from within. When we talk about technology, and there are different angles that we can look at it. What about if we incubate our technology so that we don't talk about technology transfer? A technology that is working in the US might not work in Kenya, my community.
Not even Kenya.
Yes.
Mashinani.
So I think that is it. When I'm usually very skeptical when it comes to technology, because I believe technology is innovation. So if it is innovation
where does it invention?
Exactly, innovation and invention, and this can come from within. If you learn our cultures, you realize that there is a way things used to be done, and to me that was technology then. So we just need to create a shift between that generation of technology to the new generation without actually putting in foreign initiatives.
Actually, as you're saying that, I'm just remembering there's an episode I did with Brian, and it was on the way our education system and our universities should promote innovation and ensure innovation. So as we were talking, he actually told me about people who decided they can make, was it cake from mosquitoes?
Yes.
And I was so shocked. And this is actually a solution. Like it can even be an adaptation solution. Because in places where people don't have food, if someone can eat that. But I was like, what have you just said?
Let me tell you something.
It's crazy.
Even if you bring the aspect of food, I grew up knowing what our mothers used to do. Because there was plenty of food then. They used to recycle food. I don't know whether to call it recycling, but they used to ship food from different products. Okay? I once at a point even ate cake made out of omena.
Oh my God, out of omena. Oh, that reminds me. This weekend, I saw someone had cooked omena and the beans. And I was so shocked.
Very nutritious.
I was shocked.
Very nutritious. So we have our local thinking, and I think this is the direction we should be taking.
Hey.
Let's consult more of the elders, so that because we are in another generation, we believe in microwaves, we believe in baking cakes. But can I tell you even how do we call kunde in English?
I don't know. The other day I was doing some Googling and the name that came up, I was like, let me stick to the kunde name.
Yes, but we all understand kunde.
Yeah.
There's a way they used to conserve it so that it doesn't go bad or spoil. Yeah. They just dry it. Yeah, I wanted to tell you that.
Yes. The dried leaves of kunde.
Exactly.
That's the story.
And
especially in Nyanza, it's just.
And which chemicals were required?
None. Or if they used anything, most of the time it used to be ash.
And let me tell you, it remained nutritious the way it was. So those are actually technologies.
Those are
technologies which actually were there. So you just need to create an interception of the old generation technology and the current one, so that you come up with something which is communal. That is it. That is exactly what we need to do. Intercropping used to be practiced.
Yeah, I know it.
And now
I think the names just
we have now shaped it to be ecosystem-based approaches. And you think it's a new thing that has just come from somewhere? No, these things used to be there. So I believe we can. I'm not a conservative, but I'm not really. But there's a way we should remain a bit conservative.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe that.
I think it's more or less as tapping into our communal things.
Exactly.
And just embracing them the way they are. So when someone is coming and imposing something or saying this, the community says, oh, we actually know it. Yeah. This is how we say this is it. So if someone is going to write a research paper, the person can't write that I went introduced this to them.
Yes.
I went to them and they told me this is how it is called.
And let me tell you, there's something that has just crossed my mind when it comes to that. Do you know the food then was so nutritious? And I think most of the hotels that are now trying to find their niche back to the market are organic hotels, which actually still sell the famous aria.
I know that you're reminding me that recently I went to a restaurant and the setup, I almost took the photo everywhere. And as I was sitting with these people, they were like, you see it as if it's decorative, but this is how we used to store food. Yes. After you've eaten, it will be placed in the pot which is hung up high.
Yes.
And that is what they have.
Yes.
So more or less, they're trying to conserve or showcase the traditional way in which it was, only that you might not know this used to happen, and it's a process that used to go on if someone can't explain it to you.
And that's why if anyone asks me about technology, I will gladly answer them. Let's go back to our roots. The technology was rich then.
Have you taken water from the pot?
Yes, very cold.
It's
nice. It's actually more than it's so sweet. Yeah. It's.
I have a pot somewhere.
Wonderful. I also own one shall go. And I think actually it's working.
Yeah.
You really feel so nice taking water from the pot. And there's a way that pot receives water and even traps the dirt. It purifies it. And it
actually,
so
now
nice.
that we're talking about innovation and rather than adopting technology, it has just reminded me what is being done to pots these days.
Yes.
You can have a pot, but it can have a small tap.
Yes. That's a typical example of how you can link the
other technologies.
You know, you can still have a pot, but put a tap on it so that you can get the cold water just from the base of the pot.
Yeah.
That is
Anyway,
really nice.
digressed. So maybe the final one. You can give us examples of other adaptation, locally led adaptation mechanisms that you've had to use or experienced so far or gotten from the community.
Yeah. I've in my life I've worked basically with the communities and in the field of agriculture, but also in trying to moderate their ways of income. And one thing that I've so far embraced and learned from them is even in practicing agriculture, it has really worked for them. We have the local seed banks that still has helped in maintaining even different biodiversity of the seeds from different from different kind of seeds across. Okay, we need to embrace that. It has really worked. We used to harvest and then you choose the best ones out of what you've harvested, then you hang them in the kitchen for them to dry up. You know, they became the best seeds. We should be practicing that.
And every single time you give me an example, I just keep on thinking of something related to it. So let me say it before I forget it. On your point, I think this is also a very important way to actually ensure that some crops don't go extinct.
Exactly.
Because we keep on talking about, this crop has disappeared, this plant does not grow anymore. But what if we adapt that and ensure that we don't lose the crops that we had?
Yes. And you know, that's why locally led adaptation initiatives actually gives us the best deal. It helps even in conserving biodiversity. The same applies even with animals. You know, there is, I don't want to call it animal husbandry or what, but there is a way they used to go and look for even prominent bulls within the community to come and breed with others so that they get the better types of, you know. Let's go back to our roots. I mean, those are solutions which has really worked. We need to practice them, embrace them. And the government needs to incorporate this when they're doing their policies. Our local seed banks, I think we will not even be talking about GMOs for your information. We will not be talking about GMOs. We will not be talking about some kind of junky foods which have been, you know. So in food security, in agriculture, work with the communities to help them just embrace those cultures, what they used to do. Okay. And there is also one thing that under forestry, because I've been trying to look at them thematically, I work with the community in Western region so that they can get intrinsic value of the forest and how they used to resonate with the forest. So that when they are conserving the forest, they remember what used to happen. And in Western, you mentioned Bukomero, okay? Which is a very good animal.
Is it a good animal? Is it an animal?
You know, and let me tell you, when they now think of Bukomero and realize that nowadays that plant is actually almost getting extinct, they think of preserving and planting indigenous trees in the forest. You know, and they now resonate clearly with how to conserve the forest. Okay, this really worked. And out of Kakamega Forest, I want to give you a typical locally led mitigation measure around Maragoli Forest in Vihiga. Maragoli Forest used to be a very good forest where even people thought of how to create even a golf course next to that forest because of how green it was. But the community revolted against the government because they brought the KWS, they brought the Kenya Forest Service there, and the community felt like, okay, this is not our thing now.
Yeah, it's theirs.
It's theirs now. No. So they started fighting. And those fights were really escalating until the forest got cleared. The land became bare. Erosion started happening. But now we were remaining with one task of how to successfully conserve Maragoli forest. We thought of the best way, and we realized that there is a key stakeholder here that we have to engage, and that is the community.
Yeah.
So we called the community and told them, now this is your forest.
Yeah.
How well can you do? How well can you work on it? They gave us their grievances that the government came with their own rules and all that, and they had to stand for what belongs to them. And then we told them, now we are giving back what belongs to you, back to your hands.
Yeah.
Can you develop initiatives of how to conserve the forest?
Yeah.
They said, fine. Within our confines, we know those who can develop tree nurseries.
Oh, nice.
So they started doing what? Working on the tree nurseries to develop the seedlings.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And government in return will now pay them for those tree nurseries.
You're making money out of money.
Yes, you're making, it's actually a locally led initiative.
Yeah.
And from there, we now started looking for those who can be planting.
Yeah.
Then we said, you are the people. Can you come and plant? And then the government will pay you for this. So they started planting. But we realized that we needed even those who could protect the forest.
Yeah.
Leave alone from human beings, but from animals as well.
Yeah.
Then we told them, you are the people. So can we get your boys so that can be employed in the forest to protect the forest?
Yeah.
And then we call them. As we speak, the regeneration rate for Maragoli forest stands at 70% and is quickly moving to 90 and 100.
Nice.
That is a typical example of locally led initiative.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
That is a very good initiative. And they didn't do anything to do with beekeeping.
They are now those ones which has now started coming. The forest is quickly regenerating. They are now doing beekeeping, keeping bees. Those things that we now call the non-consumptive use of the forest.
Yeah.
Is actually coming up.
Wow.
We have now the rivers which actually used to flow from the forest have now started, the streams are rejuvenating and things like that. Can you see how the ecosystem can be so beautiful if the community is put at the center?
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, it's important to note that you can't separate the community from the environment.
Never.
And the environment from the community.
Never.
So even as you're doing everything, you need to ensure that you don't stand at a point in which you're like, it's environment and it's environment, and you forget the people. And then sometimes it's people and it's people, and then you forget the environment.
Never.
Because there's a very strong interrelationship.
Yes.
I've really enjoyed it.
They are linked to it.
Yeah. Oh, this was wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe you can give us your parting shot and your favorite quote.
I don't have a quote, but my parting shot is when we go back to our roots, everything takes shape.
Wow.
But I'll be working on my quotes.
Yeah, we need to have quotes that we can quote, like
the ones which have been there become extinct, have been there,
yeah,
being taken by time and events.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys. Remember to like, subscribe and share.
Share.
Hiya. Bye.
Bye.